What up? What up? What up?
Hey, we are back. Y'all already know the intro, man. We do the same thing every Tuesday. We back here again. So let's talk about it. This is our third or fourth. Is this the fourth or third episode of the coaching edition? I'm gonna let Jamal introduce this one. He has a close to home feeling with this one, so I'm gonna let him introduce him.
Man, this is actually my coach, Carlos Parry out of Pinpoint. He is an OCB pro, NGA pro, and he is the coach of the two-time Yorton Cup champion, man. So without further ado, let's bring him on in so we can get this thing started.
Here we go.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. You see, I'm all over here, high tech, uh, trying to block the noise out. I got one of my clients in here training one of my athletes that wants me to mentor him to coach. So it's pretty dope.
Nice, nice. Well, first and foremost, thank you for taking time out your busy evening to join us.
Appreciate it. No doubt,
Let's
man.
let's well, matter of fact, you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people real quick. For people that don't know you.
All right. Yeah, my name's Carlos. I started Pinpoint in 2015. A lot of people don't know my journey. I was overweight my entire life. I didn't know a daggone thing about bodybuilding before 2014, 15. Good friend of mine named Lou was doing his first competition, came over eating a bowl of broccoli and bland chicken breasts, right? We hung out one night. And just through the course of me really getting into working out at that point, I inquired about it. We sat down, we talked. I think that was like November of 15. I did my first show October of 2016. Was my first year in bodybuilding and men's physique. After that, my first athlete approached me, who's, let's see, he's up on the wall, older guy. You can't see him in here with the glare. But he approached me about training him for a show. So that's where I got my feet wet. Other than that, I've been working with gym pop clients since 2006. Probably well over 200 or 300 people trained in my time. Several people have lost hundreds of pounds. Like you said, I do coach the two-time Yorton Cup champion. Had the privilege of coaching numerous others, Mighty Mouse, Cam, Aaron, my buddy Ray, who's an IFBB pro. So I have a good handle on the competitive side of things. And then in myself, just staying 10 toes down with the grind, finally earned my pro card after 7 years. So got a lot of experience from the weight loss perspective, lost over 100 pounds. I've helped people do everything that I've done myself. So I can pretty much talk the talk and walk the walk when it comes to anything in this fitness stuff.
Man, that was a lengthy intro, brother. Jesus.
My bad, bro.
He said he gonna carry us. He gonna carry us right. You better play. Don't play with it.
Right. Put the team on his back, ain't it?
Hey.
Well, I'm gonna dive straight into it because I heard a couple of things in your intro that I have questions on. Not necessarily questions, but I feel like we might as well start it off hot. So, as you stated, you are coaching the two-time classic physique Yorton Cup winner. So, with that, there has to be some form of, well, let me rephrase that. Is there any pressure going into the next year ever when you when you're coaching a champion? Is there pressure on the coach or just the athlete?
I think the pressure is on the coach. It's my job to try to keep his head clear, and we talk a lot, right? When we talk a lot, and a lot of it is just keeping him grounded. But he's one of the realest guys I know. So in that respect, I think it's on the coach, man, because if he's doing everything that I asked him to do and it don't turn out, then that's on me. And I'm willing to take that when a person is actually doing everything I say, not changing my stuff. I tell my athletes all the time, I'll fall on the sword for it if you following what I said. And then I can own it and change it. But if you changing stuff behind the scenes, I can't take that. So I think it's on me. He does the work. His off seasons are phenomenal. His end seasons are phenomenal. So, I really think it's on me.
Nice. What you got for us, Jamal?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask another question, bro.
Nah,
Yeah, I know, right? He
I
started
just
off
wanted to come
hot.
out.
You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to come out. I wanted to come out the gate with the pressure question. See who was on real quick.
Okay, so you checking the temperature.
Hey, I gotta check the temp.
All
I
right.
got you.
Well, Los, how do you assess a client's readiness for competition if they are interested in competing? Like you said, you got people in there working out right now. Maybe they want to be like, hey, I want to compete. So how do you assess that readiness?
Do a consult call, man. The answers you get in questionnaires tell you a lot. Why do you want to compete is one of them, and finding out if a person just wants to do this as a bucket list item or they want to be one of the best. Uh, that that is the way you do it, and sorting through questions. People that just want to chase pro cards, I get it as a goal, but those are usually the ones that take a lot more coaching, and they got to learn how to become a competitor too. So let me know if I answered your question because I know how you are.
He'll call you out.
Yeah.
Nah,
All right.
you
All right.
did.
All right.
Well, since I got a follow up question on that, so let's go there. You said something about people willing to compete or if they want
Yeah.
to, be the best, but only, I mean, you got Jamal, so only a few actually reach that mountain of being the best. So how do you
Mhm.
manage expectations of each athlete? Like somebody can say they want to be the best, but how do you manage the expectations when you like as a coach, that's your main job of like knowing maybe what their ceiling is, knowing what their floor is, and just managing in between that. So how do you do that in between athletes?
It's a lot of real conversation. Um, and I think all of my athletes can attest I am real as hell. But that's because I'm real as hell with myself, right? So I was told I had a ceiling, but I don't believe people absolutely have a ceiling that are willing to really get in there and have that grit to push beyond comfort. Um, so with each person, I am brutally honest about the time frame in which they want to do things, what they need to build, how we can build it, and the amount of time it's going to take. And if they're on board with that, we push as hard as we can towards it, but it requires both people's buy-in to that process. Um, so the expectations come with people realizing like how long you've been at it, how long he's been at it. So if a person just met me this year, they think I just stepped on the stage and went pro. It took 7 years, a lot of feedback, and a hell of a lot of work to do it. So just really being honest with people about timelines and what it takes, especially as naturals. Like some people grow muscle fast. Some of us really got to dig in and grind.
So you can't take like a 4 month off season or gain 11 pounds in 3 months. You can't do that, huh?
11 pounds in 3 months. That ain't actually that, man. That's less than a pound a week. So you try to get me, right? I'd be happy if a person gained 11 pounds in 3 months. That is a
Man,
phenomenal off season.
what you
See?
got,
Well,
Jamal?
I'm pretty sure, coaching can be challenging. So can you describe a challenging client situation you've encountered and how you resolved it?
That's an interview question, not a podcast question. Good question.
In the shortest sense, I'll use a common one. Because there's so much awareness now on like hormones and things like that post contest. I'll use this because it applies to a lot of people. A lot of people will assume that their hormones are damaged because they got out of the contest and they went out to eat a few times, and they had that week or two where they took off and they gained 20 or 30 pounds. So they'll automatically blame hormones, right? And I've dealt with a lot of people who actually did have hormonal problems and fixed them. Uh, but I've also had a lot of people who claim something that the labs didn't show. And a lot of times it just dealt with adherence. So a lot of it is, there's a lot of answer in diagnostics, but then there are ways to troubleshoot it. So when you finally figure out it's not their hormones, it's now let's deep dive into, what your habits are. Did your activity change? You still working out as hard? Are you sneaking foods on the weekend, not counting your alcohol, etc.? So those are just some different ways to troubleshoot. Those are usually some of the hardest client cases, is getting a person to let go of it's my hormones, and that, you know, you're actually perfectly fine. We just got to get back in line with some sort of a plan, and training to go along with that. Um, on the flip side, when it is hormones, it's a lengthy process, and taking the time to do it and run those labs again, a lot of times it means throttling back in some areas, learning how to relax, recover, and even supplements, natural supplements for the naturals, and sticking with protocol.
Okay. Man, so you be giving us short and concise answers. We try to get these lengthy ones. You know, we try to get you into
Oh,
something. But
hey, if you want to get
hey,
me
they
into
gonna
something,
But
all right.
all right. So I got this question because, of course, it's something that I battle as well. I'd love to
Okay.
hear your take on it. A lot of I ain't gonna say a lot of people, but there's the notion that you shouldn't hire a coach who competes, who currently competes, knowing that their time may be split or they may not get the attention they want. So how do you feel about how can you debunk that? Like, how can you, I guess, give people the notion that a coach who competes is just as good as a coach that doesn't compete?
I think we can ask the guy in the red shirt right there. Um, when we were at the Yorton, I was deep in my prep. They were in their prep, and you know, I like to think, man, like I spend probably more time dealing with their stuff than my own. So getting up at 3 a.m. Like Jamal sends me his stuff at 3 a.m. I don't think in his prep there was a time that it came through at 3 that I wasn't up responding to it. You know what I mean? Or, you know, at the time JC sending his stuff 5, 6, 7 a.m. He's out walking. I'm watching y'all talk on lives after, you know, dealing with him. So I don't think it's bad, but I really think is that coach, they have to have their time management in order as well, because they still have to check their boxes off. But there was nothing happening in my prep that caused me to not be able to tend to what they needed in their plan. Um, and that could be hours of texting. Some clients require that, or getting on the phone, but I don't think it's bad. I just think it's a stereotype, because some people have had those bad apples, but I've even seen you on 2 phones at my show, right? So, you know what I'm saying? So being able to see it firsthand and do it firsthand helps. That is, it's not taboo. It can be done.
And just to you know, piggyback off of that, I think us as clients need to realize the coach have a life too. He has like real life things going on in their life too. So if they don't get back with us within that 30 minutes to an hour, hey, maybe he's dealing with something, you know what I'm saying, like real life issues. So I think us as clients and athletes need to understand that about a coach also. Because there was a couple times last year, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, damn, those haven't responded back to me. What the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? But then I had to sit back and realize, yo, like this man has a life, you know, outside this too. So
Yeah, but you know what, man? I think and we had this talk, right? Like one of the things I respect is that you said something to me, right? I didn't hear it from the paper mill, and we talked about it, and it was like, oh man, I didn't know you had that going on. And I'm talking to you like, oh man, I didn't know you had that going on. So
right.
it opened a line of communication with us, like, yo, like if people knew the stuff I went through in my preps, people would be like, how did you do it? But it's not something I wear for sympathy or empathy. But the people that know me know, like, you know, that last show, man, and I'll just let people in on a little bit. That last show in my last month, my dad was, he had to have a surgery where they cut a chunk of his stomach out. So every day at 6 a.m., I had to be at his house to change his wound, which means get down in his stomach, change it, give him an IV, leave, go to work, run my gym, get back to his house at 11 p.m., and get back up at 4 a.m. to do my cardio. That was my last month of prep while still dealing with clients and athletes and things like that. But again, you know, you can get through some things when you have that time management and organization, if you really are like driven for it. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff to go on. But I still try to give them everything I got.
Yeah, I think, and I just kind of piggyback because, like I said, I came across that question. I said I knew you was competing at the end of last year, So that's definitely why I wanted to ask you. I actively competed with my coaches in the same show, and I mean, like you said, you stated it. I was coaching one guy in North Carolina and one guy in person in Baltimore. Had one guy
Right.
on FaceTime and coaching another guy in person, man. But people really just don't understand on both aspects. And I think that's why you use the main important word between the coach and the athlete. There got to be some form of communication. And then letting the athletes in a little bit on your life to know, like, hey, man, maybe not after this time you shouldn't contact me, or like on show day, you got me 100%. I'm here with you, I ain't going nowhere. But like sometimes, like, hey, after this time, text me in the morning. I'll be up at 4 o'clock. I got you. So I like that though.
I mean, the
What you
couple
got?
times I've been with you, Eric, here within the last 2 months, I'm looking at you, I'm like, bro, like, I don't see how you do it, dog. Like, I would get annoyed, bro. I'm like, yo.
Hey man,
It's
you got some that don't bother you at all. Then you got some that need all of the attention. So then when you go there, you're just like, all
yeah,
right, I'll talk to you. I got you.
yeah.
So
It's
some of them you got to hold
real.
their hand, and some of them they'll hit you up next week and they'll be all right. I'm good, coach. Cool.
Yep. For real. It varies.
Well,
So
shit,
on
since,
to your
since we're
point.
talking about, the client and coach relationship, Los, how
Okay.
do you establish and maintain a positive and supportive coach-client relationship throughout the coaching process?
Hmm. That's really open. I'm sorry. That's really up to how transparent the athlete is with the coach. So a lot of what I do is like psychology. So you kind of got to get to know people and what's going on and trying to structure things around that. Um, so it's case by case. I always tell people the clients I find to do the best are the ones that communicate the most. So I believe on one of y'all's other um, coaches, I think it was David. He spoke where people asked about they think people are getting favoritism because they're around more, they communicate more, and people associate favoritism with the result, not realizing that the client on the other end has to execute in order to get the change. It's nothing specific that I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like I ain't sprinkling a little more on this plan than that one because I want everybody to be great. So the communication is everything. And when you can help people navigate life, you have great clients because if life is perfect, everybody can execute a diet, everybody can do their cardio, they can practice posing, and they're on time for everything. But when life starts to hit, it pulls apart. So I think it's just really on the communication of that client, always going to their coach first and not to other people or the team and all of that. Like go to your coach first because y'all are the two that have this. Y'all are the ones that are contractually attached at minimum, right? But then on that personal level, it helps too with regard to what you're willing to share.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I can say about you is funny because we had this conversation this morning. So usually I check on the weekends. A couple of days went past, I didn't check in. Yo, you good? This ain't like you. What's going on? So, we had that conversation this morning. Like, bro, like I underate over the weekend. Like I was moving around, traveling. I stepped on the scale. I didn't like what I seen. So I was like, I ain't checking in. But then you put it to me and because like it doesn't matter. Like you still have to check in. Like that's stuff that we can take, realizing what you underate on, for next week or the case may be. So you're very big
Mhm.
on like communication and making sure like your clients do check in. So I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's just all information. It's not like it's all info to the plan, right? So
Yeah.
where it tells a story. Like whatever you underate, just it explains why you were what 209 or whatever it was. Or my bad,
Yeah.
229, right? Because you 230.
There we go. There we go.
Well, since he said 209, it's time to
I
get
knew
a
it.
little
I knew it.
get in there. Since he's
Let's get
209.
in.
All right, so your stage weight roughly about the same amount as my stage weight. So
I'm not 209 right now, guy. Just for the
Exactly.
record.
hey, I'm one more question. Let me get my question out, bro.
Yeah.
So you're about 209 and you go on stage about the same weight as me. So will Jamal be ready for No Gear Classic in Greensboro?
I'm sorry. It didn't come through. Oh, what?
I'll say it one more time. So will Jamal be ready for No Gear Classic?
Yo, you are messy. You are messy. Why would you do that?
Why you gonna do that, man?
That's
I
dirty.
mean,
Why
y'all
would
still have
you
to answer the question. It's a yes or no. It's like it's a yes or no question. I think the people
Yeah,
want to hear it.
you really trying to get me in it now, huh? I'm not answering that. No,
You
no,
plead the
no, no,
fifth?
no. So no, seriously. I guess you just gotta wait and see.
I like it.
That's what I'll do.
I like
You just
that.
gotta wait and see, right?
I kind of feel like I messed up because we got you before we got my coaches, so I just know it's going to be bad.
Oh, it's
It
gonna be
is.
real bad.
It
No,
is.
no.
Don't worry about it.
We'll just wait and see. You know, we like to let the body tell us when we're ready. There you go.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Jamal, any follow up questions on that or follow up answers
Why
on that?
why you do that to you, big dog?
Man, listen, I don't know why he even threw that out there like that, man. I
I like,
really
Man,
I
don't.
like, I like to stir it up
but
just a
look,
little bit.
I ain't gonna lie. We do good when we go to no gear though.
Hey,
I'm just
Uh-oh.
saying. I'm just saying.
Oh man. So
We do all right.
I got one of those too, but they're not in my picture.
I know you
It's
do.
not,
You got it the year before. You got it the year before. And technically the year after as a coach. So congrats on that, man.
appreciate it.
For sure.
you gonna ask a real question or not, man?
No, that was my real question.
Y'all terrible.
That's terrible.
You try to put me in the blender, man. That's cold. That's cold.
That is terrible. All right. Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you this, since Eric want to throw out shows out there or whatnot. So, do you recommend shows for your clients to do? And how many shows a year do you think a natural athlete should do before they start to plateau?
That's a good question. So I don't typically recommend shows until I think a person's around like 8 weeks out. So my formula is let's let the body show us because I don't like trying to crash a person into a show. Um, and so usually when clients come to me like, yeah, I want to do this show, let's say no gear, right? A person comes to me at the beginning of the year. So we'll say 20 weeks out and they need to lose like 40 pounds. It's not going to look that good, right? Because now you're pushing a rate of loss where they're going to lose lean body mass in the process to get as lean as I'm going to want them. So with that, let the body tell you. So usually 8 to 12 weeks out, I can usually tell or give you a ballpark of when to start looking. And that's something I implore myself. So yeah, I don't like picking shows unless you are within striking distance. Yeah, even then it should be flexible. The amount of shows, that depends on how resilient your body is. I usually tell people to get the most bang for their buck because if you're going to diet once and get multiple shows in there. So I would say the average person, 2. The extreme pros on the level you guys have, I should say we guys now, right? I can say that now. That we guys are on. We've adapted to the dieting so much and the cardio and the ritual of it that I think that we can do 3, possibly 4, depending on how far apart they are. Because I know that last one I did was about a month later. Whew, that hurt. It hurt a little bit. And it hurt because, hell, we were on stage for the first class I did for 18 minutes. So, yeah, holding them poses for 18 minutes, and I was in 4 classes, wrecked. So, I'd say about 3, 4 for the higher level guy. If your feedback is not get bigger, get bigger, get bigger, get bigger, or, if it's get leaner, cool, keep pushing that throttle. But if you're consistently meeting the same type of judgment and you're getting the same feedback, cut it, grow, come back better. But I would say 2 to 4. 2 for the newbie, 4 for the advanced pro. And some people do even more. I've seen it. Who was that Murph that year that did? How many shows did he do? It was
Like
something
21.
stupid. Yeah, that was something stupid. Like bruh.
He had like
So
20 something. Like 20.
Like
yeah,
21.
yeah, it was like 20 something shows, man. Crazy,
There's
crazy
only
is what that
56 weeks
was.
in the year, bro. Like that's crazy. Like to think about it. Like
Because weren't we at the Florida Pro? He did a show the day before, like drove to Florida or something. It was
yeah, he
something
I think
did.
he
crazy.
flew.
He did
Yeah,
that
yeah.
multiple
Okay.
times. He competed at in like two or three. He competed in two shows on the same weekend multiple times that year.
Yes. So crazy. Like I take my hat off to that, man. But like I say, 2 to 4. I would say 2 to 4, Jamal.
So this is a question I asked all the coaches so far. So this ain't messy at all. We're gonna clean it up at the end now. So roughly about how large is your roster in regards to competition clients that you actively coach throughout the year?
On average, it's between like 6 and 10. Right now, Steve, Brad, Sarah, Jamal. So right now, I believe I have six, just six. So I deal heavy in the gym pop field. I can say I've turned a lot of, well, I didn't. A lot of my gym pop clients, when they get really fit, they say they want to compete. Um, so I'm not one that pegs competition on people. If they come to me with it, we run with it. But right now it's six.
Gotcha. And
Yep.
do you see any advantage of, I guess having a smaller niche style bodybuilding being because you work in fitness. So then having just six to 10 clients, do you see any benefit as to having the larger amounts, the hundreds and the 80s? Do you see any benefit just because you could show them more, I guess, more attention, or would you want to have a big team like that?
Um, I see benefits on both sides, right? So you have to be realistic with your scalability as a coach because you can get to a point where you have too many to actually provide a good product. Um, like my coach probably has hundreds of clients, but most of us aren't needy clients, so it works. But if you have a roster full of needier clients, it can burn you out if you don't have a good system in place or a partner. Having a smaller knit, a smaller team, it makes it easier to manage, but it also allots. I actually find in those moments you end up spending a lot more time with the clients when it's a smaller team. Um, I think the product will be the product if they can adapt to the mindset that I have and I can get it in them, then the product's going to be the product. And I think we've done a real good job of that across the board um, with clients and producing the results. So having a large team helps because then it's like, oh man, like freaking nonstop. Every show I was at, he was at. So when he's a larger team, so it helps because it's you see NSF everywhere or Pinpoint or whatever. It just helps in growing and awareness. But I don't mind having the few that produce. I don't mind at all. Not at all, man. Yeah.
Well, your star over here look like he going to sleep. Kurt
It's
over
fast as
here.
bedtime, man.
You already know.
Well, finish us
Fast as
off then, Jamal.
bedtime.
Give us the finishing off question. I know you got one more for us.
I mean, it's the same question I asked all the other coaches. How did you measure your success as a coach?
Shit. I would love to say by trophies, but in
Don't say.
reality, hey, I, I'm not gonna say humble because that means diminishing yourself. But thankfully, I can say that every person I've had the pleasure or the privilege of coaching has done well. Um, whether it was from nothing to a champion, from a champion to staying a champion, um, they've done well. Um, but I think the measure of my success is seeing people get better than themselves every time we choose to do it. And for me, that is the measure of my success. Um, is progress, people getting better. Um, that's what I measure my success on.
Hey,
Yep.
I love it. There we go. See, hey, Smooth 30. You gave us all these clear and concise answers. You didn't get in any trouble. You didn't give us a
Nah,
sound
man.
bite. We made it.
Because you be
Dang,
on
hey,
it, man.
you didn't get
You
no
be on
soundbite.
it, E.
Huh?
What soundbite y'all
You
need,
didn't get
man?
no
Go ahead.
soundbite.
Oh, that's because hey, man.
Hey, don't worry. No gear gonna know you coming. That's gonna be the biggest sound bite of the week. I guarantee it's gonna be like 20 new followers, and it's gonna be on and popping for you.
Watch out for Carolina Muscle and No Gear. That's the
Hey,
soundbite.
we'll put it on the flyer and everything for them.
Bruh, the people know if it didn't come from me, it's not true.
Bro, from last year, people know if it came from you, it's not true.
Hey, yo, hold up, though. No, you know what? Nah, I got too much, man. I got too much, but yeah, I got too much between y'all two. Let's just say presidential is always hilarious. From the first year we went,
Hey, President's always a good show.
It is always a good show, though. Like straight up, it is. But nah, y'all two.
I just know Jamal wasn't supposed to show up last year, and I was, but who told that? You know?
Nah, we was coming. We was coming. It was.
But once again, Los, we thank you. You know, this was a good live, good episode. Thank you for joining us, giving us your time tonight. But until next time, guys, peace.
Peace.
Peace out, y'all.